Welcome back, everyone. We're excited to be here once again for our second series of the evening. We were in Challengers just last time, but now going into the series, we're going into the Legends. We're giving you the best of the best, and hopefully the best of the best, of course, games that we'll be seeing here today. We are going straight into Maryville University versus, of course, Grandview University. I mean, these are two teams well known in the collegiate scene.
Yeah, I mean, Maryville goes without saying. It is Maryville. If you think Collegiate League of Legends, you think Maryville. And a couple of things, St. Thomas is up there as well, but it is Maryville. This is the best of the best. And then for Grandview, I think really you have to approach this game. I know obviously you're going to approach every game that you're going to win, but I mean, we need to be honest here, Orbital. It is Maryville. They beat everyone not named St. Thomas at this rate. I think Grandview has to approach it, and this is a measuring stick game, right? They are 0-2, but they have had 3-game series both times, right? They take Fisher College, another A-list team, to game 3. This is really a test of, all right, where are you in Legends? Are you a contender, or are you maybe on that, we need to fix some things? I think this is a great early measuring test for Grandview.
Yeah, and to take a look at things and to lay it out even further, this is not a, what do we need to improve on? Of course, no matter what, you have things to improve on. It's exactly what things do you need to improve on. I think this is also, Maryville is well known as a team that love to dominate in the micro. They love being just kind of the strong hand, bully you around pretty easily. And then also their macro is on point. So I expect them to come out with some fire as well. I mean, you take a look down the roster. We're looking at Maryville, if we will. We can go ahead and pull them up because there's some returning players as well as some new players on the roster from the spring 2023 group. We have PCL, Mazo, Get Back, Scary Jerry, and Zyko joining us here today.
Let's take a look at their opponents. Grandview, of course, we talked about coming in 0-2, but hey, look, they're trying to figure things out, and we can take a look at that roster, who, again, has taken some people to Game 3, taken Fisher College to Game 3, taken Ball State to Game 3. So Grandview, I think, again, as we're talking about, this is a great way to kind of see where you measure up. We can get their roster up on the screen. This will be the opponent today. It will be Strict Proctor, Matthew Castle, Zusty, Nightstar, and Pluto LoL in that bot lane. And again, Orbital, we come in knowing that for Grandville, a win is almost out of the question, but let's say they do the impossible, which I'm going to say is taking Maryville to Game 3. That is a massive ego boost, and not only that, it's a massive statement to yourself, like, we belong here. If they can maybe even have a lead at like 10-15 minutes, I think there's so many small things that, yes, maybe it's unfair to Grandview that they're already writing them off, but if you can approach like, hey, let's have a lead at 10 minutes. Hey, let's maybe win a dragon fight. There are so many things that if you could do that against Maryville, you can do it against anyone, and I think that's exactly what Grandville needs to come into this game. Don't come in, hey, we're going to run cheese comp, we're going to get first blood, and then we're going to lose 42. Let's come in and let's try and beat Maryville at these little things, and that'll go a long way as we hop into the draft.
Yeah, and you can already see the draft is lending itself to you better win outright, and I like it. You can see there, we have the Kasante that will soon to be reworked on the blue side, and that will be GVU, I think, on there. Yeah, the Grays, yeah, the LeBlanc as well. Taking a look on the red side for the likes of Maryville, you're taking a look at the Rumble, at the Maokai, at the Jace of all things, which I do like quite a bit. And then the Draven to follow behind. I mean, this is Scary Jerry's just bread and butter, if you will, in the ADC role.
Yeah, this is, Maryville, as you said, they come out, they just want to crush you, right? Draven, if he is able to get that passive going early on, absolutely going to pop off, get further and further ahead. I do like that they put a Mazo, or at least got him on that Maokai. I mean, you look at the stats, he's absolutely dominating it with these assassin jungles, so you can see taking away the Belveth, counter-picking with that Graves to kind of ban it away, essentially, from Mazo. So I like what Grandview is trying to do, limit the damage here the best they can, and hey, I mean, as you said, Kasante is going to be reworked, but you might as well play it until it is. So I like this comp for Grandview. If they can keep, Scary Jerry on that Draven down, maybe they have a chance here to make some noise. But that Pike into the Nautilus, I've got some worries there because you have a very squishy bot lane against a Draven who's one to love to feast all over those health bars.
It's so much fun to see these types of comps come out here and kind of just waylay their way in as hard as they can. This is going to end by about 10 to 15 minutes, I think. This is either going to go one way or the other, and I mean that in all sense of the song and dance. This is going to be very, very fun. I like how you did point out on the bot side, this is Minstar and Pluto just going, yeah, we're going to go a bit ham, right? Mm-hmm. This is do or die. But the mid lane is what interests me more. Jace, I think, has been an up-and-comer in terms of the mid lane, just powerhouse that way through. What do you think about the LeBlanc versus Jace matchup?
it feels like they're kind of trying to do the same thing they're doing bot side, right? Like let's try and just 100-0 somebody. I think that is like, let's see if we can assassinate the Jace, or maybe we can get a roam down bot side with a LeBlanc, try and maybe sneak up on Scary Jerry, maybe turn that into a 3v2. You already got the Pike for some early engage. Maybe you have Graves down there as well. This really feels like Grandview went against what I warned them and just said, like, let's just go full flashy. Let's just see if we can start maybe kind of styling on Maryville in the early kill department. That's where kind of I sit. I think it's those, maybe if LeBlanc gets a pick and goes up early on the Jace, then the LeBlanc can start to snowball around and pop off on the map. I'm not a big fan, but if your goal was to, hey, style on that mid laner from Maryville, make your name known for the first 10 minutes on the NECC stream, I can't hate against it if it works.
True. At the same time, I mean, if we're gonna style, I'd rather see some ignites. You know, if we're gonna go ham in the mid lane, if we're gonna go ham anywhere, please do me a favor. I love seeing kill lanes with the ignite. Then let's go to the top side, and we gotta look at Strict Proctor right now. That Cassante has thrown so many people for a loop. I think it was one of those interesting points to have, because I mean, we just got announced, actually I think it just went live, right? The new changes to Cassante, adjusting a lot of his power and tap. How does that work against PCL and the Rumble?
It really feels like that Cassante, we're trying to pull up and see, it was the last pick for Grandview, and it kind of felt like that was they picked the Nautilus, they picked the Maokai. At some point, we need a tank on our team with our full flashy comp, with the Graves, with the Pike, with the LeBlanc, and with the Kai'Sa. It really feels like what tank do you like the most? And I mean, as you said, maybe they were like, oh wait, is Cassante changed yet? So it really does feel like kind of like a panic. Oh, we need a tank on this team if we actually want to stand a chance. Like, yes, you can get ahead, but eventually your assassins will fall off. That's kind of the least what I'm getting from it here, Orbital, is this was like a panic. Oh, right, we can't just play 5 assassins and win in League of Legends. So I'm not a big fan, but hey, as long as he doesn't feed PCL, as long as he's able to stay back, I think that fits exactly what the Grandview comp wants to do, which is just not lose the top lane.
All right, well, there you go. You know, hey, small steps is what we say here. Small steps in the NECC, and it lends itself once again to the fact that you were talking about the litmus test, that kind of testing grounds, the proving grounds. Yes, this is early on. Legends, of course, is a whole different story than, say, the Challengers or Emergence or anything like that, some of the lower leagues. And I mean, these are teams that we see on the regular in a lot of the major circuits. So I do agree, Grandview are going to have a test. It's only just how much fire are they coming out of the gate. And there is another side of it. We do know Maryville have a tendency, no matter what, with this iteration or previous ones, they tend to get a little bit out of whack if they get a lead. I think everyone has had that jump scare of Maryville up, 5-6K, and all of a sudden it's like, oh no, they're going a little bit too ham for the liking. They always pull out a victory, don't get me wrong, but I mean, do we possibly see that here with the composition that they drafted?
If Maryville gets ahead, no. I don't think that can happen, just because when assassins get behind Orbital, that they're not assassins. They're just kind of ins. You could take off everything else because they're not killing anyone. So I think if Grandview can stay even, and Maryville maybe has like a gold lead, but the kills are even, and you see those assassins, maybe that Pike has picked up some kills and can get aggressive, maybe LeBlanc has picked up some kills, that's where I think you might see that oh no from Maryville, where they start kind of getting blasted down, saying I can 1v2 this LeBlanc, I can 1v2 this Pike. That's where the concern is. If Maryville gets ahead, I think it'll be really hard to do that against the assassin team that would be behind, but that's what I'm watching out for. If kills are even, maybe just like our last series, right? Kills are even, but every single objective is going Maryville's way. That's where I could see Maryville doing some things where it's like, hold on here, what are we doing? But if they can get ahead early, I just don't see a way for LeBlanc or a Graves that gets behind in the jungle to really have any impact.
Yeah. Do we see them falter one at a time, or do we see the 2v2s? So that's, I think, the other question that we want to pose. How much team coordination is going to come out here? Do we see Maryville go full throttle, or are they only going like 60 when they could go 100? I mean, what exactly do we wish to see Maryville have in terms of the great start, perfect start against the squad? Or where do we see GVU actually bounce back? Because there are so many different win conditions, I feel like, as we are onto the Rift for game number 1.
I think for Maryville, to me, this really feels like, let's see what we could do in the bot side, right? If Draven can get ahead, I mean, everyone's seen a fed Draven, right? Especially if he starts cashing in on that passive, he's going to have a massive gold lead. I think for Maryville, that's really what I would expect him to be playing around. The other thing that I would maybe keep an eye on, we were talking about the Cassante in the top lane. If Castle has kind of already, in GVU, has this mindset of, hey, I want to put Zusty ahead, I want to put Mintstar and Pluto ahead, and Strict Proctor gets kind of left on an island, I could maybe see Amazo saying, all right, let's just camp this Cassante. Maybe my other lanes fall a little bit behind. Maybe they trade even, but let's really try and put this Rumble super, super far ahead and make this Cassante feel the pain of kind of being that like forced to pick tank role. That's kind of what I'm looking for Maryville. Either a Draven pop off or a let's camp Cassante in the top lane and make his life an absolute miserable hellhole for 10 minutes.
We can see that all coming out here on the Rift, and even then, the poking for information, multiple wards already dropped around that Raptors pit for Amazo. And Wallflower is just wondering how exactly they're going to work. Once again, Wallflower is Amazo, Get Back is GFH, FG, FGH. I have to say all of that. It's the same as if you had like 7 O's in your name, right? You have to say every single one. But yes, we will be enjoying ourselves here and hopefully getting underway with some great games and hopefully entertaining lanes as well.
We do see both junglers start on that top side. I'm curious to see if either one will look to maybe make a play top side. There is a great ward already down for PCL. I mean, and you can kind of see already, right? Just look at the information difference for Maryville versus GVU. There's only 1 blue ward down on the other side of the river. There's 3 wards in the river and another one in Tribush. Maryville knows wherever you're going already.
And you can already see, because they have that information, they're actually pushing very hard. Topside, PCL already forcing Strict Proctor out of lane. But we didn't even get a touch about that spot lane. Minstar and Pluto losing out in the information game already, and Zyko burning both summoner spells just to get a lane advantage. And I think this is very appropriate. This shows the experience, right? Zyko saying, hey, Sober needs a great laning phase, needs to start things up early, get those blades bouncing, also get that CS up. So many little things that we love to kind of keep track of will be very, very interesting as Castle looking for this top side, looking for a little bit of a reactionary gank, if we will, but is going to get the recall off.
And that's just going to put that Graves jungle now further behind. Of course, having to recall, he's going to fall behind on that 6 clear camp start at the start. Maybe Maokai can now look for a play. That mid lane pushing very far forward here for Zusty. Going to jump in, maybe on the Jace.
Ooh, getting close. You know, it's the temper at this point, and we know how much they like to fight. Zusty, though, happily going to trade back. But keep in mind, that is going to be Get Back having a couple more potions in the back pocket.
Also loses that deception passive for just a little bit, but so far I'm actually more impressed that, you know, Maryville for the most part has kind of just stuck to like, we want to win our lanes. They haven't really looked for the Maokai. I mean, PCL has been really pushing down Strict Proctor the whole time, but a great job by Strict. I mean, the CS nearly even, only just a few minions down since the wave collide, and I think so far GVU kind of has to be happy with the start. They're looking for something here though. Oh, he canceled it.
And I think this is proper. You don't know where Wallflower is currently sitting, so you can't really call down and say we want to hardcore fight. You know the Ignite and the Flash is still down on Zyko, but I mean, Sober's still pretty happy about the current situation. And now the fact that they've actually given a little bit of time means that Amazo is on their way, but Wallflower might not get there. This is going to be a chance. That's going to be a quick Ignite and a quick burn down. Very easy pickup there. Pluto getting chunked out on the bottom side as well. PCL, though, burning down Cassante. And that will be the trade. Kill granted to Castle on that bot lane. They're going to try and keep going, though. Wallflower, wanting to not make like a Wallflower, is going to get into the thick of things. But I mean, how much can they really get down there?
You're happy you get the 1 kill and you didn't give anything back to Trafen, but now all already GVU's comp has to be pulled into question here, Orbital, because top lane can't exist by himself. It's already 1-0 in favor of PCL. He's going to be able to continue to farm Strict Proctor, it looks like, very early on for some easy kills. And now what does Castle want to do? It looks like he's going mid.
Yes, he is actually falling behind the Maokai. So this is Wallflower not enjoying this fact. Drop down to about 100 HP. Body block coming in from the likes of Get Back. But Strict Proctor, this is a dangerous spot. Great read there. Gotta shove, gotta punch, gotta kill. GVU getting a great head start here in the early game. Following it behind, Zyko gets taken out as well. Zusty picks up a kill and puts themselves at 1-0-1.
I mean, if you asked me if we were going to see Maryville going to get that spot where they start getting ahead and they start doing some things that maybe are a little questionable, and they haven't even gotten ahead, right? I mean, look at Amazo roaming up right through mid, right in Zusty's face, taking a ton of poke damage, allowing Strict Proctor to make a very fantastic read. Then Zyko trying to rotate down, even though I don't think there was any intention for the Jace to try and fight. I mean, right now, this GVU, this is the best 5 minutes of League of Legends that they would have ever imagined playing in Game 1, I have to think.
Hopefully they can replicate it for the next 5. Dragon is on the board right now. All those fights happened after the initial bot side. Maybe we get to see a counter. Keep in mind, Minstar's exhaust is up. Keeping eyes on Sober and Happy, that's the big point. If this is going to be Scary Jerry getting some nasty pickups on that bot lane, it's going to be a problem. Remember, Draven's 1 kill and it's pretty much over, so that is the big one in question. Right now, though, it is Wallflower getting back in control of their own jungle side.
Yeah, and until you shut down the Draven, right, it's always a threat. If you get a kill on the Draven, you can cut down those passive stacks, then, okay, we're maybe going to allow Draven to, we can let him get a kill. But that's the thing we have to watch out for. Not only is it 51 CS for Sober, and this could be an issue for Strict, able to get out, every time he gets a CS with those Dancing Blades, he's going to get a stack of the passive, and as long as he stays alive, as you said, 1 kill absolutely is going to ignite a wildfire bot lane. And I think Minstar and Pluto have to be aware of that, but at the same time, they need to be aggressive because look at that CS difference already. It's almost 20. That's basically a free kill for Draven in terms of how much gold he has over Minstar.
And it's scary for the same fact that for the 3 kills early on, even the first blood, it is still, they didn't get first blood, I do apologize, but GVU 3-1, still even in gold. They are just about 300 up. You are hoping for a little bit more, even just the stark pressure that is being laid down bot. You can see the pings going out from GVU saying, we don't have control of the map right now. We have to be aware of this dragon being reached for. Not only that, get back, first one to arrive back in mid, so Zusty might be having just a few more moments away.
I don't think you could take this dragon. This is a great call by GVU, realizing, look, as you said, Zusty made it to lane second, so Get Back is going to be able to rotate in. This makes it a 4v3. A great job falling back, but this is a problem if they get caught out with a Mazo right there.
Oh, Pluto does not have the dash up just yet. You're getting bounced back. There is the dash, follow through behind, and there's the execute. We called it. The danger of the follow-up all of a sudden. Scary Jerry looking scary.
Look at that 1 kill, and it went from even to a 700 gold lead for Maryville. Of course, I know Dragon stacked in there on top, but that was the one concern that we both had, and oh, this could be even more right here. Look at that, 3,700 gold already for Sober.
You hate seeing it. Like, anyone that's played against a Draven is just like, I hate this. Like, this is their worst nightmare. But it's so good. And you can see here, Zusty now roaming down. Great sapling. This is exactly what we want. This is why Maokai's are so enjoyable. If you look at it, that's going to be a push back. Zyko properly buffering against the wall. Pluto doesn't really have a chance to follow up behind him. Minstar eats an axe. Oh my gosh. Scary Jerry just does not care. Look at that. Almost no mana and just dancing on top of him.
And he isn't even back with any of the gold he got from that kill. He's still, I think the observer shows 2,000 plus gold in Sober's pocket. Meanwhile, we are going to see GVU. They're trying top lane, but PCL's here and he's level 8.
This is a problem. Castle and Zusty, this feels a little bit desperate. And now they're going to try and chance in. Great chain landing. PCL caught up, is going to flash away, but the chain still roots. Red carpet is out, but only secures his demise. But they are pulled off of Herald. You know what? You'll trade a single death, and I think you're going to lose it. Oh, no. They were able to juggle the aggro just in time, so you know what? You toss PCL away, get the Herald, now trying to run away for your life. Get Back is going to flash away from the change. Zusty is quite low, but Strict Proctor wants to keep this going. However, overall objective kept, so Maryville have advantage on macro.
Oh.
No, no! Oh, he cut it short! Oh, that feels so bad. Honestly, Scary Jerry having enough mana and waiting out of time to almost get a second kill with the Whirling Blades. Try to recall on top of Minstar and get the double damage right away. Doesn't get it. Now, this leaves them open to another gank. Great call in. Great zap. Great ignite. Pluto secures the kill. Assist over to Minster. Now, Scary Jerry has to run away. You have flash available. You don't want to lose it. Because of that, you're just going to try and juggle. Great knockout of the pull. Pluto not allowed to look for a second.
GVU is just so thankful. If that lands, I mean, this Draven is all over. I can't even wait to see what he comes back to lane with. But Strick's going to survive. This lane scares me, but I have to say, again, we came in this game saying GVU needs to kind of, this is a gut check, right? What can we do against Maryville? Where can we win? 5-2, yes, you're down gold. I think you have to be somewhat happy with this performance, right? They've been able to find kills. They've been able to make Maryville be a little bit more greedy than I think what they really want to. I think you have to be kind of happy with this result so far, Orbital. Now, going into the second Dragon, this is where you're kind of hoping to convert, well, I wouldn't say the goal, but they're down 1,000 despite the kills. This is where you're maybe trying to find Maryville off guard, but so far, I'm happy with what GVU has done in the first 11 minutes.
It's not what we were expecting, and I think that makes us very happy. So, taking a look here, as you said, great start to the game. Let's see if they can continue, as of course that great start has fallen off. They should still feel like they have a little bit of pressure in their back pocket. Now, of course, Minstar smells something fishy in the waters. Their vision went completely dark around that try, but you know what's also dark is that top side, kill for kill, blood for blood. A chance on this bot side now. We're switching between all different angles, but the root of the problems is in this bot lane. That will be Scary Jerry collecting their second. And you said it earlier, Fish, where will Maryville focus? Well, you know what? Might as well focus the winning lane.
Yeah, just put Scary Jerry even further ahead. We did see actually PCL go down. You can see based on the death, that's probably that death you were talking about, Orbital, where Maryville maybe goes. I mean, you look at the CS, it's 102 to 69. I think PCL probably thought maybe he could do a little bit more damage against that Cassante, but this Draven is going to be a problem.
Yes, it is. Ooh. But the follow through in the mid lane. You know what's not a problem is a twisted tree in your way. Pluto getting the full-on supportal treatment. Zyko picks up their own kill against the support on the other side.
That was probably where GVU was looking to overextend, trying to get that kill on to the Jace. A great job, as you said, with the twisted advance following Zusty all the way down. Now with this dragon up, this probably becomes Maryville's to lose. And now I think the question becomes, Orbital, all right, you made it 11 minutes. You had a kill lead. That's now evaporated. Now it's a 4K gold difference for Maryville. What do you want GVU to do from here? Is it throw themselves at the problem? Is it find ways to try and catch up in farm, in the small things? What do you want to see from GVU for the next 8 or so minutes?
Me personally, I want to see blood go their way, even though it's a 50-50. Like, you don't have a choice. You called it earlier, and it lends itself to this do-or-die playstyle and composition. You said it earlier. You don't really have a choice when it comes to playing multiple stats. You have to go in, and because of that, you put yourself in sticky situations like this. A single spinning axe will claim your life. That will be Scary Jerry's third 100 gold bounty per kill, if you will, on their head. Exhaust is going to do 9-0. One more axe should take it just as the exhaust times out. A follow through down behind, as that's a finisher. Scary Jerry saves their support's life. Follow through in the rest as TP's top laners join. And honestly, Strict wants nothing about that. The burn is just too good. PCL picks up a third, and would you know it, we went from a 700 gold lead to a 6,000 gold lead in under 2 minutes.
Scary Jerry has earned 8,000 gold this game. That's more than a third of GVU's total income. And this,
not just that, that was 4K above the lane opponent. What do we call that? I know 100 CS over your lane opponent is a flame heart. What's this called?
I think this is just called a sober and happy, right? Because you got to be pretty dang happy if you're 4,000 gold up on your lane opponent. I mean, we saw this coming, right? But this is what you call this. This is what you want to see from GVU. They're still trying to make plays, and that's what I think you can ask for them.
Well, there you go. Just keep playing, as we said. GVU just looking for a chance.
Oh.
That's almost a challenge, and PCL quickly chugs that refillable, saying, thank you very much. I will happily take that one. You know what? Ate a lot of pressure on that top side. Still has TP. Can TP right up to that top side as the rest of the team starts to flood around this upcoming Herald. I mean, they got the first one. They can look for the second. It can be all theirs. Everything going Maryville's way.
And now I think it just becomes how cleanly does Maryville finish out this game, right? I mean, it's 6,000 gold. I think it looks like team fights are going more and more their direction. You can see GVU barely missing that kill on PCL. Mistime Pike ult did not get the execute. Pluto's only level 6. Do you think he can survive 3 spinning axes right now at level 7 on Pike?
No. No, not really. I mean, depending if they're both thrown at the same time. I mean, with the ult, you're just dead. I'm sorry. You really got nothing behind it. I mean, it's 2 items into Scary Jerry's pocket. Strict Proctor now. I mean, you're not getting away. I'm so sorry. You get knocked back into the team. You are alone. The Strict Proctor is now going to be the one taught a lesson. The vines come out and, hey, you almost get away, but it's only temporary. That is going to be the 6th execution from the Executioner, bringing a 6-0-1 scoreline to the Draven.
Should be a free Rift Herald for Maryville. And this is where GVU's comp is going to fall apart. We talked about it. Your assassins are not able to assassinate anyone. I mean, the LeBlancs 1 and 2. Zussi probably has the best shot right now, and he doesn't even have a completed item, though he's very close to one. This objective bounty, if they're able to get it, should help, but they're just simply not going to have the damage to get through the Nautilus and through the Maokai, and even if they do, Sober and Happy's just going to be on the back line, just absolutely just farming up kills. But hey, good on them for keeping these their attempted assassination working.
Yeah, I like it. I like it, and would 100% agree. But right now, Pluto's just like, bruh, like, please leave me alone. Has to flash over the wall. Has to get away. Zyko's still looking for another kill, and the fact that we are dropping wards in the middle of the lane for GVU just shows the pressure Maryville currently has. They are just worried all over the place that Castle is going to get caught out, that someone's going to get caught out, and you have to watch every single point. You need all the information in the world. Maryville just are saying, you got to check every single corner. At this point, you have lost control of every part of your jungle. Even if the towers are still up, I'm sorry, you do not get to play in your own jungle. Maryville looking to steal away everything in the kitchen sink with an 8K lead.
And I like that, right? Even with the 8K lead, you could see who's the scariest person on the team. It's probably Castle at that 2-0-2 scoreline. Let's make sure we just starve him of resources. You can see 10,000 gold so far for Scary Jerry on this Draven. 6-0-1. Absolutely putting in a phenomenal performance that I think you and I were really just waiting to see when it would happen. And I think my kill number 7 might be here in the bag soon.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Strict looking to try and get over the wall, and not a chance in heck. Who do they give it to? Who steals away? Nah, it's still Scary Jerry going godlike here as the top lane will now be pushed.
And now I think the question becomes Orbital.
Oh, Castle. Castle was the last unkillable. You need that one for the Hunter stacks, I think, if you're trying to get the ultimates. Yeah, there it is. 5th stack coming in, if you will, if you're running that, I think, Ferocious tree, or the Hunting tree, of course. That'll be an 8th. I think Scary Jerry's going for 10, the perfect 10-0 record.
The only thing that stops him is his teammates at this point, right? I mean, we're seeing how much, I mean, no offense to GVU, we're seeing how much these axes are doing. And this is, I mean, again, I think now the question becomes, how does Maryville finish, right? We talked about it sometimes in the past. They have a history, 10K lead, results pretty much lined up. Maybe, you know, Scary Jerry starts trying to 1v9. I think that's kind of where we're standing right now. But I will say, again, coming into this game, if you freeze frame at the 11-minute mark, that's kind of that scratch record. Wait, how did we get here? How is GVU up 5-2 in kills right now? That is something that GVU could definitely hang their head on. They hung with Maryville for 10 minutes, which even some of the best teams in Collegiate cannot say they could do against Maryville at times.
It's one of the points that they are grouping up as a squad as well. We're not seeing the solo act, which I think you pointed out earlier, so very much appreciate. Now we're testing the waters. Pluto survived 2, can't survive the 3rd. All right, you're right. You are right, Fish. Now let's see if this can be a get back's chance. That's going to be a jump forward. Strict saying, hey, this is a possibility. Zyko, though, saying, nah, all the actions on this bot lane. Oh, and the knockback with the plant. Delivering Minstar to the pocket of Scary Jerry, looking for another 11 kills in the bank.
I know we're talking and we're hyping up Scary Jerry for good reason, but shout out to Zyko and Amazo basically running around with him. He gets the double support treatment. I think Zyko's maybe missed one trench line all game, and as you pointed out, the fantastic knockback with the Twisted Advance, with the Seed as well, getting the extra knockback because it is a Plague Soul. Really, this has been a team effort by Maryville to say, we're going to see how many kills Draven can get when he has a Nautilus and a Maokai basically pocketing him across the map.
It's one of those things that's like every ADC's perfect dream is everyone's playing to give you kills. You're just like, yes, please. I love this. I mean, when I pick Draven in my solo queue games, I get no treatment like this. I get 4-man dove. It's like I'm Faker all of a sudden, except without any skills or brain or hands. You know, it's great. My team doesn't care. That's also why I don't play ADC, everyone. Taking a look here, we are on soul point for MU. If they so decide, they can wait another lovely, I want to say like 5 minutes or so, 5.5. They can do whatever they want at this point. The world's their oyster.
At this rate, I mean, me personally, always been a fan of making sure everybody has at least one in the death column when I'm getting stomped out like this. So maybe if I'm GVU, I'm looking for a way to find at least Jace.
All right. Hold on. Is this by choice or by force? Because those are two totally different things. However, we might get that chance. This is a last-ditch effort play. Multiple TPs coming in. Zusty TP'd in behind lines. But look at this PCL joining in as well. Red carpet in the back line. A collapse in from the bottom side of River. But that will be Wallflower to gather one. Another will go down as Get Back gets their first kill of the game. I would like to point that out. Get Back's first kill of the game here at 21 minutes as the cleanup on the top side lends itself to a 3-0, and Maryville going to take the Baron.
Welcome to the game, Get Back, right? I mean, it is really hard to find kills when Draven is, as we pointed out, now 3-shotting most of the game. Baron in hand, and
Oh no, that was the one chance I think GVU had to get the go. Oh my gosh, okay, almost a second. No, this is Scary Jerry still playing, looking like they're playing on a nice edge, but straight up Houdini on that tightrope.
I mean, like I said, that the fish philosophy when I'm in a game like this, Orbital, everybody I'm trying by force, making sure everybody on that enemy team has a death. So I appreciate GVU saying, look, we're going to try everything we got. Perfect stopwatch by Scary Jerry. You just say, look, hats off to him. I don't know if he's going to give you another opportunity to do that. Maybe you look at the Jace, maybe try and snipe out, Get Back if you could find a way onto that Jace. But I like the fact that GVU's still trying. They're living by that, the assassin comp. They've already died by it, but, find a kill there, find a kill here or there. At least get something to, put on your mantle before game 2.
Well, then let's pose the question here. Who loses their bounty first on the side of MU? There are 4 bounties currently available. Who loses it before, or their 5th option is no one dies from here till the end of the game for MU? Come on, let's hear it, Fish.
Oh, you're putting me on a tough spot here.
Oh, heck yeah, I am.
Oh, I'm going to go with PCL. We've already seen him die to a tower. I think he gets too aggressive. Okay. That's my guess right there. I'm getting PCL. Let's see if he can get his bounty taken out. That's my thought. What about you, Orbital?
Oh, I'm 100% saying Scary Jerry. There's no way that you go 11-0-3 and don't get a big ego from this. You're playing front. Okay, never mind. I lied. You have GA. I don't even get to call that. We are taking a look at what could be the end of the game. That'll be another axe to add to the board. 12-0-3 for Scary Jerry. Following under the tower, it's going to be Wallflower. We didn't even get to understand it. You dive the fountain. You lose your bounty. We both lose, but the team wins. MU looking to try and close it out. Psycho and Scary Jerry are straight up 2v5ing. There is no chance in the world that they don't win. A follow-up with the kill. The axe follows, and death soon as well. 2 towers do remain, as it is fountain farming with the best of them. That is ridiculous. Pluto, a single red carpet, denies everyone. Another clone comes out as Zusty is just like this. This hurts. Down goes Zyko as game number 1 under 25 minutes goes the way of Maryville University in a fashion that feels all too familiar.
Hey, look at that. Hey, I'm glad PCO went down. I'll count that for a little bit, even though he was not the first one. As you said, the game does end. But again, we came into this game with an understanding this is probably the outcome. Apologies in advance, GVU. Maryville is that team. But I think, again, before this game got out of hand, before shenanigans started, you had to be happy with GVU that, look, this comp, it worked for 10 minutes. We were 5-2. We were making great plays. I think maybe if that Cassante is something else in the top lane, I think maybe this is even 13, 14 minutes before this game falls apart. That Cassante was just being basically farm fodder for PCO. I think that's exactly, if you're GVU, what you have to take away from this game. Everything else, we knew the result. I like the fact that for 10 minutes, you held your own against Maryville and even had a kill lead, and then we saw what happened as soon as Draven got 1 kill, which you and I were basically waiting for.
I think that's true. Again, small steps. We will say that every single time, and small steps forward are good steps. Unless you're walking backwards, unless we see a complete downfall in game 2, then we'll have some questions. But right now, we are going to get a game number 2. Please don't go anywhere. The NECC will continue to be here in just a bit with our second series of the night. Don't go anywhere. And we are back ready to go with our another game here. Game number 2 coming in between MU as well as GVU. And honestly, this could be the final nail in the coffin. Maryville looking as strong as ever without a hint of slowing down. And for GVU, they got to find a way out of this. They got to figure out a way to take control of the early game or figure out a way to stall out towards the late, which again, I say that's easy on paper and everything like that. I mean, this is going to be a tough hill.
Yeah, this is going to be a really tough approach for GVU. I mean, not only, as you said, you have to keep it close in the early game, you have to find a way to sustain and win team fights in the late game. Just a mental factor, right? I mean, if you've ever been in a best of 3 series and you get boomed in game 1, you're kind of like, gotta go back out there and do it again. And I've got to make sure I don't just kind of like, throw it in and throw the towel and say, all right, we'll just go through the motions, 20 minutes, we'll get out of here. So I think that's a very important thing to see for GVU if they come in this game invigorated and let's say let's find a way, let's do something. I do think, look, we tried the assassin comp, it didn't work. It went as expected. I'd love to see them try and slow the game down now and see, okay, how does our macro work against Maryville? Can we stay up in CS? Can we stay even? That's kind of that next test I want to see is, all right, we tried the all-out kill comp. We didn't think it was going to work. We had some success. I want to see them slow this game down, Orbital. I don't know about you, but I want them to say, let's try and go as best we can, pound for pound against Maryville and see how long we last. That way, that'll be a really good measuring test of where you are in this Legends division on how long you could stay up in farm, in objectives with the Maryville.
Yeah, and to kind of put another topper on that one, they have opted to actually go onto the red side. GVU opting for the red side, counterpick across their board. If you were to give counterpick somewhere, where would you actually put it to try and get the best in terms of macro control over the laning phase? I mean, there are quite a few that you could go for.
I think the first thing that depends is if you think Maryville's going to go the Draven. I think maybe bot lane, as weird as it would be, is because we saw this game was over when Draven got picked, right? So I think you want to make sure you don't pick a lane that walks into Draven. I don't think that'll be the call, but I think that would be an unorthodox approach. I would really honestly have to say mid lane. I know top lane was kind of an issue, but as we kind of looked in, it is actually a substitute top laner, a support main playing for GVU, which I mean, going against a PCL, you're going to have issues in that top lane if you're not a top main. So I think in mid. The LeBlanc pick was very interesting. I don't think it worked nearly as well as they want. So that's what I'm saying. I say counter pick mid, but part of me says like maybe we bait in a Draven and we have a Draven killer comp. Maybe, but I don't think that'll be the case.
Well, taking a look there, it is going to be a chance at the mid lane, and I got to agree with you. It might be a chance. Granted, on the top side, Strict Proctor did try their best, and hey, maybe you give, maybe they played it safe in game 1. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see what happens. The other option is that jungle. We do have to give credit over to Castle. Castle, for a majority share of the game, was 2-0-2. Very, very strong in terms of keeping themselves alive, and I knew Castle all the way back from ways back. I've watched him play quite a bit, and it's been a lot of fun. He's a strong player. The problem, of course, is translating some of those smaller wins into vaster, more team-wide wins as well. Would you almost give counterpick to the jungle and play through a hyper carry style there?
My only problem with that, and I do think it's a good idea, is Wallflower, as we saw, absolutely insane. You pull up the OPGG, you look at those KDAs in Challenger, they're very orange and very large. Like, there's a lot of numbers that I'm like, that shouldn't be allowed if he was in bronze and he's doing it in Challenger. I'm like, how do you even counterpick someone who's averaging 6 KDAs in 1800 Challenger? Like, how do you even counterpick that? He can't even be counterpicked by some of the best players in League of Legends. So that would be my only reason to argue against that, Orbitals. The man feels uncounterpickable at this point for the side of Maryville. But I can see where you're coming from, though. I do think mid or jungle would be my absolute dead choices. I will say, though, very small win. If you're Zusty, you get a little fist bump that your LeBlanc was first banned by Maryville. That, means something to your pride, I think.
I would agree on that one. Just, okay, we see it here. Granted, though, we are seeing drastically different drafts come out here. PCL going for that ever so lovely Aatrox, and that was, I believe, blind picked there. For those wondering, we are seeing a little bit of a shift. We also get prior knowledge to a lot of this, and I like it. So seeing a little bit of a shake up here, the Urgot coming in to try and fight against, and now we're seeing a more head-on collision between the two. That is going to be Wallflower on that rail, newly minted into that jungle role as well.
I'm curious about the fact that it looks like that Urgot was actually the counter pick for Grandview. I think both of us probably agree top lane was the last spot we expected to see that pick come through. So very interesting to see what Strict Proctor has in store. Maybe has something up their sleeve. Maybe they've seen something. I do like that Zusty is on a champion that they're a little bit more comfortable with. I do like the fact that Draven not played, maybe giving a little bit more hope to GVU that they don't have to worry about Scary Jerry absolutely dominating them. The Sivir, a very interesting pick here as well, kind of that like go comp, if you will, where they're just going to try and Sivir ult and run you down. I think Maryville's got to be, or I mean GVU, excuse me, I think GVU's got to be pretty happy with how this draft ended up if their goal is to kind of see how long they can go toe-to-toe with Maryville.
It's also a great stall comp. You take a look down GVU's side, they have so much disengage and just stay away from me abilities. You're looking at the Poppy, which is, I want to say, one of the best disengagers in Castle. It's one of the mainstays, I think, in his pocket. He tends to play it very aggressively. He loves to get up in your face. He loves to try and get a lot of early game damage down. And then Zusty is on a champion that can very well turn the tide. You take a look on the other side. These are all great ultimates to grab, right? Weaver's Wall, you can cut off multiple members. Yes, they can hop over, but it's enough to section them off. You grab a Braum ult, you can fissure everyone, you can keep them in place. You grab a PCL ult, you grab the Aatrox ult, all of a sudden you're still more than unkillable. There are so many juicy pieces where if GVU are able to stay alive, as you said in the early game, we could see some nasty mid-game fights.
I think maybe an underrated one to keep an eye on, Orbital, is potential the Sivir ult, right? If you see Scary Jerry, pop it, just pop it yourself. Get your team out of there. Let's reposition for a better fight. I think there's a lot of really powerful picks that Silas has. And again, it's something that Zusty seems to be playing quite a bit. So I like this for GVU. I like this. I think, again, the only thing that I really am sitting on is we talked about mid. We talked about jungle. We talked about bot. I think top was the last spot that you're going to say, okay, you pick red side to try and counterpick PCL. Unless it was more of not a counter pick and more of a pick that I feel the absolute most comfortable on, because part of the reason game one did snowball outside of Draven getting a kill and absolutely popping off is that PCO basically could just solo farm Strict Proctor. Even when they bought a jungler up, it turned into a 2v1. They barely were still able to survive. I think even PCO getting away. So that's that one hesitant where I'm like, really, was your best pick counter picking top? Unless the counter pick was, let's just try and find a champion that you could stay alive on.
Yeah, it's the question that we posed before, and now we get to also kind of wind through it. We're sitting there going, hey, is that going to be a problem once again? And I think that comes down a lot in the draft as well. It's just like, those are one of the things that we as casters always have to look for. That R5 pickup, is it a major role play? Does it play a major role, right? Is it actually as impactful as we assume? For those that are not too sure and maybe tuning in to one of the best teams here in Collegiate, it's an idea that that last pick, it holds so much presence. I think the first pick and then the last pick of the draft always have that essence of, these have to be big. If they're not big, they're weak, and we don't want weak picks. I've even seen some teams draft supports in that role, right? You go ahead, I think there was an age of just support picks, just, all right, we got to counter the support, we got to have fun. So do agree. Now, if that Urgot is paired with the Poppy, though, that's going to be a lot of fun, too. Hey, all of a sudden, you got the pinners, you got all of these groups just like, hey, we're going to push that topside. PCL is not going to have a good time.
Again, maybe that was the goal, right? Maybe the idea was, because if you look across the map, mid lane, to be fair to GVU, mid lane was very even last game. Neither LeBlanc nor the Jace were really finding much success. Really, we saw Jace didn't get a kill for 20 minutes. So, it's not like there was kills being exchanged. With the Draven taken off that board, that bot lane loses a lot of agency because it's no longer, okay, Scary Terry gets one kill and it's over. So I do like the fact, as you said, maybe all this focus is, let's go top. We believe everybody else can kind of trade even or evenly CS as best they can. So maybe you're right. Maybe that is the logic for GVU here. And I'm very curious to see how this game goes. I really do think this comp kind of hits the checkbox that I was looking at. All right, let's not play crazy aggressive. Let's just see how well we can do with Maryville in this macro, in the micro. Where's dragon fights going? I think that's really my first barometer for this game, Orbital, is how does that first dragon unfold for both teams? That'll tell me a lot of, is GVU going to have a chance to maybe make this game interesting, or is Maryville going to run away with it once again?
Alrighty, well, the test points have been laid out across the map. Dragon, Herald, maybe a couple Scuttles. We're not too sure. We'll point them out as we go along. Gotta agree with you. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see where things pop off. And if, Get Back can get more than just one kill in the first 20 minutes. That's mean to say. There were kill steals all the way across the board. We saw 5 assists in there as well. So they were definitely having a lot of fun. Keeping eyes now, we get to ask the also fun question of where does first blood come from? PCL had it last time in a solo kill in the top lane right before bot lane got very much out of control for the start. Where do you think the kills will go this time at the start?
I think it's 6 top lane. I mean, you've convinced me that this Poppy Urgot was intentional from the side of GVU. I think the question is, does Maryville read that? And then basically we get double jungle bot lane start. Let's meet up. Let's kind of have this 2v2 shenanigans. Because again, PCL probably not going to be able to push as much into that Urgot. So I think it's still top lane. I think Maryville's going to try and set up something. But I think GVU also has plans of their own. I think we're going to get a crazy skirmish top side of the map. What about you, though? Do you see anywhere else maybe we get something?
I just want my mid lane to blow up. I'm a mid lane player on my own. I don't care if you're having like the weakest players in the world, or not weakest players, the weakest champions, right? Like Sylas is a good 1v1 champion. We understand that. Talia, I mean, can be, but you don't normally see it, right? So as much as I want to say, hey, please go ahead and do it, I want to see my mid lane pop off. But we'll go ahead and take a look into the game. We go game number 2. GVU looking for a win, and it looks like they're already getting a chance. Strict Proctor not really keeping eyes right there. Said, oh crap, that's not what we want. GVU, of course, is going to be on that red side. Maryville on that blue. So the early invade for Maryville telling a few signs.
Do like the fact that Strict Proctor gets out, doesn't have to blow the flash, doesn't have to use anything too crazy, so at the end of the day, only gives up a little bit of vision. And now I like what GVU's doing here. There's no vision down there. Of course, they don't know that the jungler, also Wallflower, is not down there, but maybe setting up for a potential steal here. I don't think. Yeah, Maryville's not going to check this. So I like this from GVU. They said, okay, you met an early top invade. You probably haven't set up on your red buff. I like this play from GVU because Maryville has no idea.
Well, Scary Jerry might. Okay, drops a ward, says, I don't see anyone. Let's see if the pings go down. Let's see if it's identified. So walking over the ward, it should be identified already that, hey, they're coming from an odd angle. It should be that red buff is already taken. And we'll have to watch where Wallflower goes. Level 1, though, Braum is quite strong. They're looking to get some chunk damage down, and the fragments drop Minstar quite low. Zyko, realizing that this is a problem, takes a couple of ignite shots. Gonna be a punch with the shield onto Scary Jerry, but Zyko eating a lot at the start here.
I don't know if they really needed Castle to follow in. I get that they maybe were trying to have Maryville overextend, but yeah, there was no notice. I don't think a ping went out until they walked over that ward. That's a great start for GVU. Potentially you look for Castle to maybe go for the triple buff start here. There is a ward down, so I'm curious if we do see Wallflower maybe try and start some vertical jungling, which they actually don't. I would have liked to see vertical jungling Orbital just because it cuts off that Urgot Poppy that we were hyping up. So very interesting. Castle's going to have a pretty massive lead here once he's able to get through all these camps.
Of course, that is if Wallflowers, stay silent, if we will. Already looking to the mid lane, and I think this is what the right call is going to be. Zusty caught out, realizes that they may have jumped in a little bit too early. Now going to have to take a chance whether you fight, get back, or you take a chance at running away. You do have TP if you can get away, which is great. However, they will leave it alone. That will be Wallflower saying, I can't fight this. Castle, though, gonna flash forward, gets the pin, and they'll take the kill. Once again, the aggression coming out from GVU at the start.
Absolutely fantastic play. Curious why Maryville left Zusty just all alone there, because, I mean, they could have easily hunted Zusty down, probably picked up a kill, or at least blown the teleport. Very, very interesting for Maryville to kind of leave that free first blood sitting in the bushes.
Oh, man. This is going to be a fun start, I think. I'm going to very much enjoy this. PCL actually joining in once again, throws down the hammer, says, hey, you did this to me last time. I'll do this to you this time. However, GVU quicker on the rotates. That's still a 1v3 with PCL taking the dub. The stones will not slow them down. It's a 1-for-1 trade. And now on the bot lane, MU saying, give us that chance. We know that you don't have any pressure from your jungler. It is free to get a plate.
Just a matter of inches, and Castle gets that stun onto PCL, probably makes it out alive. Probably now we have a 2-0 lead, but again, the problem is, even without the Draven, I know the Siffer's not going to be as scary, but those boomerangs will start hurting. 31 CS already to 18. Already picked up a plate, though they did share the gold, did Scary Jerry. So now, again, it's this problem of this ADC is potentially going to run rampant for Maryville, and we've already seen how that story goes. Again, I think maybe you can survive a couple more boomerangs than you could Draven axes, but that's still not what GVU wants because they're winning on other spots of the map, but it's that ADC that's once again the ultimate problem.
And the thing is they're also going to have to fight face-to-face. You take a look at what Minstar is currently running. You're looking at that attack speed build. You are going to have to get in their face. And late game, yes, you have a little bit of burst, but I think, honestly, Scary Jerry, the Sivir will always have a lot more extended damage. On the top side, though, we are seeing a challenge. Strict Proctor getting inside a tower range only takes 1 tower shot. But with double bust, PCL is not allowed a chance. You can see Castle now saying, I've identified that as well. We need to use this double buff control as quickly as possible. However, Pluto walking up has given away information. Zusty steps up and is now shoved under tower, so we're seeing a two-pronged battle, maybe one not on their own volition. Wallflower gets found, is going to jump to safety towards the wall, and is actually going to turn it around. The jump from MU says, ha, we win this duel. Down goes Strict Proctor.
Fortunately for GVU, just trying to take too many separate fights to Orbital, as you said. Strict Proctor gets forced to walk through the tower. They're going to try and get one back on a get back.
Oh, get back has to run away. The shove doesn't come in. The stones went the opposite direction. And you know what? It's a 1-for-1. With those kills, though, they still can't get Dragon, so it's still kills for kills' sake.
And this is kind of what we saw in the first game, right, Orbital, where even though GVU, we talked about this afterwards, even though GVU's getting these kills, which they might lose a couple here, actually. Hold on.
Oh, Minstar. Minstar has both summoners up, so I mean, I think you're okay.
I'm more worried about Strict Proctor.
Yep, that's the other side of it, but I mean, we can see what's going on here. This should be quite fun. That's going to be the Fear Beyond Death rolling through, and look at that. Double buzz. The second time it's been handed back to Strict Proctor. That is a transfer and a half right there.
The buff transfer complete if you're GVU. But as I said, Orbital, this feels like game one, right? They're getting kills, and yes, they're winning, and this time they're at least up in gold, but they're just kind of making the most of bad situations, right? They're getting kills when Get Back kind of gets caught overextending. They're getting kills when PCL is almost attempting to proxy on Aatrox into this Urgot. Their one urgency play that we saw, they actually lost Strict Proctor on top of a great play by Maryville. So I want to see GVU find a way to be the aggressor and get a kill, not get a kill on the back of a Maryville misstep or a Maryville over aggression. So do see First Dragon going over to Maryville really uncontested.
Wallflower even was happy enough to let the dragon sit on 1 HP for a good 3 seconds. Was like, I don't have to fully take this. No worries there. They are in control. Only down about 400 gold. And, I mean, that 400, honestly, not too much of a worry. They're going to be prancing about, still putting their best foot forward. And it is about those junglers. Where do they want to go next? You can see level 6 and 7s being hit by most of the solo lanes. Junglers will be soon to follow. And that's where I think we're going to see a lot of fights kick off, whether in the solos or not. Zusty still just trying to clear that wave.
And I think that mid-lane battle, especially with the Weaver's Wall being stolen by Zusty, is going to be interesting. Is it they both Weaver Wall to separate locations? Will it be one of them's going to Weaver Wall and the other one just goes to follow? I'm very curious to see who kind of ults first in that mid lane and how those ults are going to be used. That's going to be telling, because here comes the first one.
Yes, there is. The wall doesn't reach all the way. I think Zusty thought it might have, but level 1 wall is actually very short.
Did get hit with the question mark ping there from Scary Jerry. Kind of curious what was going on. So one whiff there for the Silas, and that's another global objective. Just going to go right over to MU. Let's Castle? No, not going to get. Maybe they're letting this. They kind of want this to be a battle.
They could try, but it's a late flash in. Castle did not grab that one. But MU do not actually want this fight. Flashing away from the chain, saying we can't take that chance. We don't have control as much as we would like. Good collapse in by GVU, but they still lose the objective.
And of course, the flash being blown by Castle, not as punishing with the Hex Flash available. Still going to have some mobility on that Poppy, but it really feels like Wallflower really wants like a smite battle to kind of liven things up. That's the second time he's left an objective. Just kind of sit there for a little while, kind of milking it. So gonna be interesting to see if maybe Castle's able to get one from out under his nose here. Maybe the second dragon spawn, maybe the Rifter, maybe even a Baron later on. Kind of asking for it.
Oh, well, you know, Strict Proctor looks like he was asking for a fight on the top side. PCL goes straight God mode, and a flash away from the Fear Beyond Death means Strict has got to run. PCL not really going to join in and follow through, instead opting to clear the wave and gain control that way.
Yeah, no wards down for PCL, makes more of the calculated decision. I think with our information, Orbital, we knew that was a dead Urgot, but meanwhile, Zusty looking for something.
Oh, great grab. Looking for some more chunk damage, and that's a jump forward. Looking like the King Slayer slays the Weaver, and that's a GG. Now, that is get back 0, 3, and 0. Well done there. Follow through under the wall, though. That's a flash knock up, and Zyko's in the wall, but Castle knocks away the jungler. This is danger for MU. That is Scary Jerry running for their life. Has Glance, has Flash, should be able to get away, but a follow through in from Wallflower saying, I'm going to save you. TP in as well. This is going to be a reaction from MU, and a heavy one at that. Stones being flung, Castle being knocked down. The Demolitioner has arrived, and a trade of 1 for 2.
Oh, it went from so good to so bad for GVU. Probably as soon as that Sivir ult is popped, especially once you know that Wallflower's going to come back from that Poppy ult in just a moment. And here comes the Weaver's Wall.
Oh, man. From bot to mid and back again. It's a shutdown over to Zyko, but you know what? You'll take it. Support's got to have a little bit of love, too.
Hey, the supports have to put their bodies on the line every single time the ADC wants to walk in. So Zyko does, especially after the game Zyko had in game 1, where I'm going to say maybe he was the actual MVP, setting up Scary Jerry for every single one of those kills. So I like it, but it really does feel like GVU, this is kind of the same place they lost steam last time, Orbital.
Yes, and I mean, I think we're seeing it here again. Castle getting caught out here. You may not be as strong as you think. Thankfully, you're able to jump away, but Zyko still lives as well. A return Glacial Fissure will allow Zussi to get somewhat in range, but with the cooldown on the abilities, you can't really follow up with any extra damage.
And I feel like GVU has somewhat fallen back into, we want to play like it's game 1, but we don't have the comp to play like it's game 1, because they're throwing themselves, trying to look for kills, trying to find ways to kind of get back in this game. But I mean, before that bot lane play, the gold, I think, was only 300-400 difference in favor of MU. So it really does feel like GVU kind of got out of their way they wanted to play this game, which was let's try and farm, let's try and set up for objectives. This next dragon is spawning very soon. This feels like the tipping point for me, Orbital. If GVU can hold their own here, maybe even steal it away with how Wallflower has been kind of playing with danger, I think they have a shot. But if they get collapsed on bot, it might be all over for the game and the series.
Minstar needs to try and get away. You do have the Chain of Corruptions, which does land, but everyone jumping forward. Good flash away from the final tick means that Wallflower is under a little bit of damage. In comes the hammer. Who do you knock away? You knock away both. This is the jungler now sectioned alone. No flash in their pocket. Smite is up, and they're going to try and stay alive for as long as possible, but Zusty is down as well. These roams are doing work. Wallflower, you're not going to get away from this. I am sorry, but you are dead. 4 players in this bot lane secure a kill, and they're looking for their objective.
See if they want to go onto this dragon. Should be theirs for the taking. It looks like Maryville is just going to accept that. We do have Get Back roaming top. No Weaver's Wall quite yet. And I guess with the back from Strict Proctor, actually going to opt to reset. Maybe thought they'd try and get PCL a kill up in that top side, but I think PCL's been doing just fine on his own.
I mean, PCL is PCL, right? I don't think you can say anything else about it. You're not going to sit there and go, this is you know, out of the ordinary. It's PCL. PCL's having a blast. So the main thing that we're looking at is GVU as well. Every time you take something, you're going to lose something on the other side. Namely, right now, CS differentials. You were talking about it before. However, their gambles are working so much better this game. It is still even only about 1,000 down, and yet they have some objectives in their pocket. You were talking about, is it better? Is this where they fall off? You know what? They're already doing better than game 1.
Yeah, they stabilized quite well. I thought that bot lane play was kind of where things were going to fall apart. We are going to see Scary Jerry pick up a tower to their name and get potentially this last plate. There's still 8 seconds left on plating. Should be able to get it. They will, and get that first tower gold. This is where I think this Sivir is going to start to come online. You see the 30 CS lead. Probably not as much gold as that Draven game, but definitely very far ahead. But yeah, I'm agree with you. GVU playing absolutely lights out, and this Urgot pick, well, it isn't, you know, blowing us away like you maybe expect from an R5. 10 CS difference plus a wave crashing in, so maybe only going to be like 5 or 6 minions difference between PCL and Strict Proctor. After how game 1 went on the Gasante Rumble, I think you take that for GVU. You're happy where the game state is right now in most of your lanes, probably outside of bot lane where the CS difference is going to be very noteworthy here soon.
And I think this is the call as well. MU also realizes one of their times to strike. Chain of Corruption comes out, but Zusty is still going to live just by a hair's breadth. And really, the ults are not to get the kills. Instead, it is keeping their mid laner alive, who does not have Flash. And currently, with that out, it is going to be Herald granted Maryville's way.
There isn't nearly a TP here from Zusty if they want to try and at least maybe set up a counterplay, but it looks like they have no interest in that. They're just simply going to hand the Herald over. Again, happy that everybody survived. You got quite a few ults out of that. If you are GVU, you've got to be very happy with how this game is going. And I'm very happy to see they've slowed it down. They had like that 2-minute moment where they were kind of trying for all these assassinations, but Strict Proctor, my man, there's no wards and you're in danger.
I mean, you can try and walk this out, but I don't think you want to walk it out. Flashing under the tower at low HP, though. The boomerangs hurt way too much. A final shot of the Kraken Slayer will take it. PCL, though, getting the same treatment on this bot side, and because of that it will be Pluto to survive.
Only difference, unfortunately, GVU has no minions, and MU had not only minions, but also a Herald to push in that lane. That's the only difference with those two top laners going down. So much more gained on the map for MU, potentially even going to find a tier 2 top tower. At least a charge will come out from the Rift Herald as well. And yeah, that's going to be a pair of towers taken down for MU.
And now we're starting to see a little bit of that crumble. Castle running in on an already dead tower, and with no backup, will grant a 3rd kill on their name over to MU's side. Zusty will get the tower, which has at least some gold back, but it's still, the pressure is now wide open on that top side.
I'm curious to see what MU wants to do with this, if this is going to be a PCL angle and try and just push, because Strict Proctor has been doing a good job keeping that 1v1 very close, or if that was just, let's get some gold, now we can maybe just, let's put PCL on the bot side, able to push on that one. I really want to see what MU wants to do with those 2 towers they're taking, if they're going to find a way to take advantage of it, because as you said, now we're starting to see the cracks in GVU, making these kind of plays that separate you from Maryville, charging in on a tower, as you mentioned. Because right now, this game feels like we're still very much in the balance, as much as you could be in the balance when Maryville is playing you, Orbital. There's still hope for GVU in this game, as long as they can make sure they don't make any over-aggressive plays here and throw away their lives.
It's that spear encroaching on your throat, pretty much. You have the shield up, but a single move, that spear is getting sharper and sharper. So they have the right idea, again. And as you said, they're making the right moves. It's just, I mean, the early game went about as well as they thought. Right now, though, you are looking at Wallflower. Wallflower, I mean, 0, 1, and 5. Still trying to build out some of those items, actually going for what looks like that Thorn Mail as quickly as possible in the second item component. But this is a chance. It's going to be a jump forward, and yet it will be get back to get out before this upcoming Drake. However, that Weave as well will be down. Scary Jerry, though, saying, hey, we might have lost the wall. We're going to take down a tower instead.
Unfortunately for GVU, they used a teleport there as well from Strict Proctor, so now there's really not an answer. The teleport here from Zusty, they want to kill here. They need to fight.
That's going to be a knockout. Out goes the Braum, and that leaves Wallflower all alone. Out comes the ult, the Magnus Storm to draw him out. But look at Scary Jerry. Scary Jerry straight up 1v2ing, flashes away, and survives. Cal is on the menu as down goes 2. Pluto is sent to orbit as Zusty's trying to at least grab 1. It will not happen as Maryville take the fight. The deaths are wide and far, but the HP bars are low. That's going to be over the wall. Do you get there in time? Yes, you do. You're at least able to take 1 in that seed, but still, it's only a consolation prize.
I have no idea how the only kill Maryville gave up was a Hex Flash over the wall because Wallflower got a little bit too aggressive. It was set up perfectly for GVU. They needed that play to go right. They expended a teleport from Zusty to get behind back lines, but they just did not have the damage. And as you pointed out, it's Scary Jerry all over again, right? It's not the Draven. They're not one-shotting people, but the absolute insane ADC play, 1v2ing, couldn't even be touched, buying time for PCL to rotate down, who was just content pushing top lane. This is the Maryville we expected Orbital. As we said in the open, the question is, when do they show up? And the answer was about 18 minutes.
At least it's not too heavy-handed. Yes, the objective bounties are up, but the fact that you're able to claim a bounty should feel pretty good. 2 dragons to 1 right now in GVU's pocket. Baron will be up in about 30 seconds. And with that thought, we sit here wondering how quickly will MU take that one, because as you take a look, the gold is swinging in their favor by a heavy hand. It's only a matter of time. Zyko, though, saying, hey, let's go ahead and have some fun. A challenge in the mid lane. Wall this time sections off a lot, but the absolute sniper, a Strict Proctor, grabs the life of Get Back. Get Back is now down. Now Zyko's going to get taken quite low. Castle getting burned as well, as this is the shred that we were talking about. Scary Jerry says, thank you very much. I will take more kills. The Kraken Slayer doing so much work, burning through those tanks, but Strict is able to trade it back. A 3 for 3 is more than what they could probably ask for, but this is going to turn into a 3 for 4. Strict Proctor, you're hitting a little bit of a thorny vest. That will be Wallflower to take that final kill.
I'm blown away that GVU was able to answer that. As soon as that Weaver wall went out and caught Minstar on the wrong side, oh, PCL might actually kill Minstar here to end this fight.
Yeah, this is, nope. That's going to be the destructive force of that auto attack. Again, Minstar does have some damage in the back pocket.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it was a 1v2, really a 1v3 if you count the turret against PCL, had the damage. But again, the fact the Weaver wall goes out, Minstar gets caught out on the wrong side. Never mind, they just want to keep fighting.
No, this is that point where they are just saying, let's see what we can find, and also just keep, I think, the rest of Wallflower and Zyko out on the map as well.
I will say this Silas pick might be what they need to at least slow down Scary Jerry. I thought Scary Jerry was about to go Insano mode. They're absolutely cutting it out, but the hijack on the Magnet Storm, Zusty able to do just enough damage for Strict Proctor to finish off this Sivir. They have the comp. They just got to stay alive is the problem.
Oh, Pluto dancing a little bit too close to death, and now you're in trouble. That Braum Wall doing so much work. TP coming in from PCL, and I mean, might just look for a 1v1 on the top side, but Baron is really their call.
And this should be absolutely melted here by Scary Jerry. I think the question now becomes is, does Wallflower play a little risky with the smite, or do they just shallam the door shut? Also having the fissure for Zusty. Not the greatest contest ult. Unfortunately, the Magnet Storm is still on that hijack cooldown. So I think the right play here for GVU to just give this one up, but now they're about to get flanked.
And they actually, Castle went to go grab a camp and actually left it uncontested, and then thought about it and said, hey, maybe we can get the tower. Unfortunately, that now gives time for the rest of MU to actually corral the rest of GVU into a hole. You can see the stuns coming in. Zyko allowing the rest of the team. Magnet Storm now grabs 3, and it's an offensive one to boot. Strict Proctor running for their life, down to about 50 HP. You can see PCL as well as Wallflower saying, give us more. Give us the kills. Their HP bars are quite low. But it looks like, I mean, this should be the chance. A Boomerang will take their life. And then the buffed up Chemtech plants will put PCL right in the middle. A great slow from the Everfrost will keep them alone. But the flash over the wall says hello. You'll sacrifice your life any time of the day. 4 for 1 for Maryville University.
That fight had a potential to go so much differently. I wish we had a chance to take a look at the replay. But when Castle Hex flashes over that wall by the chickens, barely did Scary Jerry read that and get out of range for being stunned on the wall. And unfortunately, Castle had to settle for stunning Zyko. And at that point, if you're stunning a Braun, you're going to just kind of get burned down. That's exactly what happened. But if that stun is somehow able to land onto the Sivir, I think GVU had a chance in that fight, because once Scary Jerry is left alone, that damage shred of the Sivir, you can see there 9-2-7 already has 3.5 items complete. I really think this is the second time where Castle's inches away from changing the outcome of a fight, just barely misses it. And after that, Orbitals, we saw they just going to run you down, thanks to, shout out the Chemdrek buffed plant there for getting PCL in range. But I really think that fight could have gone differently if Castle is just a smidge quicker on that Hex Flash.
We'll see if they can do it. They have plenty of time left, and this time it's not a Hex Tech, it's a straight up flash. Dragon is coming up here in 30 seconds. The war is completely dominated by MU. And I mean, they'll leave 1 or 2 behind, but GVU, they're actually using their teleport in safety in the mid lane, just ensuring that all 5 members are together, which, in my opinion, is quite interesting. You have this composition that's just like, we need to get something, expending 2 teleports for a single mid lane tower, and now you leave your bot lane in flank position. Keep in mind, that's where Strict Proctor teleported away from. MU just saying, okay, we'll take and push the wave.
Yeah, this sets them up in a very weird spot. They don't have really any vision. That one blue orb they're able to put down does get immediately canceled out. They're basically walking in blind right now.
Oh, the shove. The shove was so good as well. Castle has to use the ult and flash, but that's going to leave them in a dangerous spot here. 4 on the top side, 3 actually, if you will. 2 on the other side, but look, they just chew through Castle like butter. Strict Proctor trying to fire off the guns, but look at that. PCL and Zyko chasing down Zesty. That will be Wallflower to channel out Minstar, who falls on their own wayside. A couple more in the backline as well, as that will be Scary Jerry to boomerang their way to victory. On the hunt for sure. 4 dead, Zesty still alive and running away with their tail between their legs.
Maybe the worst part of all that is based on the positioning Orbital, all Castle's ult did was knock Braum basically into the back line of the team. Because since the Poppy ult, of course, launches you back towards your base, GVU was closer to their base, so not only was that Poppy ult wasted, as you said, a fantastic shove by Get Back. And 25 minutes, not nearly as dominant as game number 1. I think for GVU, again, you're never happy in a loss, but against Maryville, I don't think this result in game 2 is something that you can really hold your head on. They played really, really well for about 16, 17 minutes against one of the best teams in Collegiate.
And I think there's going to be a lot of takeaways as well. What can we do better? Maybe farm a little bit better, maybe fight just a little bit better. That's going to be a challenge in the back, as you know what, MU still fighting inside of their base, even though they're all under 25% or so. You can see Scary Jerry just like, I want to keep this up. I want to keep fighting off on the edge. Look at this. It doesn't even care about the Nexus, as the rest of the team will go ahead and look for the quick 2-0. We are looking for the challenge further and further. Get Back grabs their 3rd of the game. Nexus towers are down, and then Nexus will fall as well in 26.5 minutes. They're still going. I love that. Thank you, Observer, for giving us all the glory there. It is going to be GG as Get Back and crew force Castle to take their final death of the game. Are they going to chase away? Are they actually? This is torture, if you will. The final brandishing moments. The waves are back up, but it should do next to that. They are absolutely making me talk my way through the very end of this. They are not going to stop Weaver's Wall to try and go in. That's going to be Fear Beyond Death to at least get 1 more on the stats. Final shots here as Scary Jerry gathers 1 more. 15-2-8, one of the MVPs. Maryville University take another 2-0 dub.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that final stat padding is going to make that game, if you ever look back on the stats, look way more imbalanced than it actually was. Because I do think, again, we came into this series with an expectation 2-0 Maryville was most likely the outcome. Our question was, what is GVU going to do? And I think game 2, there are so many positives. I think the first thing I got to say is they have some real talent in Zesty. I mean, not only was that LeBlanc first banned by Maryville, which says a heck of a lot about what they respect on you, but Get Back never was a factor in game 1 or game 2 outside of basically being used for utility. I think Zesty really is something this team could build around, because if you can make Maryville's mid laner basically disappear, big props to you, Zesty. I thought that was a really, really good thing for GVU heading into the rest of the season.
And looking for Maryville outside of Get Back having maybe not one of the best series of their season so far, and I'm sure that may be just, you know, hey, we aren't putting as many resources into that mid lane as well. If you were an opponent looking at Maryville, what's another point of contact that you would be like, maybe we can pinch this part of their game plan as well?
You've got to figure out how to shut down, or not even shut down, I don't think that's possible. You've got to figure out what champion Scary Jerry is the worst at. What champion can you allow him to get that isn't going to single-handedly take over a game? I think that is really the key, at least from what we were able to see from Maryville today. That game, this series, they clearly said, we're going to focus everything on bot side. We're going to let Scary Jerry get ahead, and once that happens, it's going to be GG. It's going to run you down. This game alone, this series alone tells me if you could find a way to neutralize that bot lane, maybe just turn it into a farm fest, find ways to stop Scary Jerry from being 13-2, I think that's really where it looks like Maryville has the biggest weakness. Again, I haven't seen their other series. I'm not going to say just shut him down and you could win, but that's what I'm thinking is neutralize bot lane, and you have yourself a shot, which is really all you can ask for against Maryville.
there are so many different points, and it's just like, yeah, I mean, they're all strong. I mean,
Yeah,
there's really, it's really hard to pinpoint one or two, but I do agree. There are some things that you got to look at, and I can't wait to see what they can do in week number 4. Keep in mind, the Legends division is ahead by 1 week, and that is why we are very interested to see how the rest of the season progresses. Of course, with the NECC, we have one more series coming to you live here. That'll start at 11 p.m. EST, so keep your eyes on the clock. Of course, for myself as well as Fish here, we will be done for the evening. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you all back in just a bit.